You're listening to Ignite Your Success, a podcast that inspires fitness professionals to build a strong business that enables them to serve more people and engineer the lifestyle they desire. It's Brad Shepherd here, and together with Jason Ubanowicz, we're best known for running Trainer HQ, a community of passionate and profit-hungry fitness business owners that make a massive difference in others' lives every day. Each episode will unpack for you exactly what's working and deliver best practice strategies so you can confidently grow your business and make a huge impact. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Trainer HQ podcast.
Oh, yeah.
You're joined by Mr. Brad Shepherd, that is me, and Mr. Jason Ubanowicz. Welcome, sir.
Oh, mate, good to be here as usual.
Bloody awesome to be here. Now, mate, we've got a huge milestone. Well, I've had a huge milestone.
You're old.
I am old, brother. 50 fucking years old, mate.
That's incredible, mate. I reckon it snuck up a lot quicker than I thought. I thought getting to 50 would take a hell of a lot longer. But here we are.
Taking a long time now. I was on the 24th of June, 19 days after I was born in 1974.
Yep.
You popped out, so I'm the older, wiser one. Probably makes sense in terms of like maturity levels, all the rest of it, doesn't it? You know.
Sorry, I lost focus. What were you talking about? Yeah.
Those 19 days make a big difference.
It does. I'm really I'm making a big point of living up the last week of my 40s.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's
got days left. You know what I got in the mail the other day, and you'll get this too. I got the
I've heard about this.
By the government, they send you out. They get the bowel cancer screening thing. So yeah, I've got.
I thought you get the prostate one as well.
I'm not sure. I'm going to go for all of it. I just said self-administer. I'll take it all.
I'll give it a test. Yeah, because I'm one of the guys from the garage where we train. When he turned 50, he said, "Oh, you'll definitely get the prostate one as well." And
yeah,
like I've been doing that for years. But he goes, "Oh, that's the test for it, right? Okay." I was thinking, there's no surprise in that.
So, mate, the topic of today is we get to talk about ourselves, which is pretty cool, you know, because we hate that stuff.
I struggle with this one,
but. People have been, mates, asking us for years, right? Yeah. Like years, mate. What do you guys do? Training, bloody.
How do you stay so young?
How do you stay so young and virile at the age of 50?
Yeah.
But so what we wanted to do today was like unpack, I guess, our journey in terms of like fitness, in terms of where it all commenced and so forth, and I guess just probably backtrack on the whole number of years that we've been working out, the type of stuff we do, food, all the rest of it, because I guess. I don't know, you get asked it all the time. You're out and you're training jiu-jitsu 3:30 in the morning, all that sort of stuff. So I guess stuff that people might not know about us was the very first day we met. Mm-hmm. And back in 1990, wasn't it?
1990, Logan City.
Logan City. We were both in high school. I was in grade 10. Yep. You would have been in grade 11, right?
Correct.
So it's not a trick question.
That's right, because you had to repeat because you're a bit thick. No, because you come from...
I come from New South Wales. Yeah, and one of those ones on a southerner. So, yeah, the 1990 Mr. Logan City Bodybuilding Championships, and we were both 15 years old then. Yep. And, mate, up on stage, our first bodybuilding comp, and that was actually the first day we'd met each other, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm probably sure that we know each other. I mean, we hadn't crossed paths up to that point, right?
We hadn't.
Had you just moved?
I'd just literally moved to Queensland. I'd probably lived in Queensland for about 3 months.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was then when, I guess, we just happened to find out that we were in the same suburb, and you went to Pine Rivers, I went to Albany Creek.
Yeah, but, and unbelievable to think that we literally lived a couple of streets away from each other.
Fucking crazy. Yeah, when you think about it.
So back then we both got quite a unique story, because when I finished up living in New South Wales, I was playing rugby league back then and doing really well and all that sort of stuff. And that was my last year, the under 15s down in Sydney. Yep. And I'd been lifting weights since I was 12, right? So lifting weights for footy, rugby league, wanted to get stronger, all the rest of it. But I'd made a decision that year before that I wanted to pursue bodybuilding, and when I say I wanted to pursue it, I think I decided at the age of about 13 that I was going to be Mr. Olympia.
Well, yeah, every kid needs a dream, don't they? Well, what I mean for you, because it's not like now social media, I get YouTube and all that, but what was it? That got you into it to start with. What inspired you with bodybuilding? What actually?
Yeah, well, I think the first part was actually just getting in, seeing some progress and some results straight away.
Did you start because of footy?
I started because of rugby league. Yeah, it was just purely like trying to be. I remember 12 years old, get my first bench press set, all the rest of it.
Because even then, it wasn't like a lot of guys never trained weights in any other sport. Like if you played rugby league, you just played rugby league. You did whatever the push-ups and all that at the training, but it was very, very rare for someone at that age to start going, I'm gonna start doing some strength training or weights to get stronger for footy or whatever the sport may be.
Yeah. Well, look, there was definitely a desire to become bigger, stronger, put on muscle, teenage boy, all the rest of it. So, and I'd hit puberty pretty early, and I was kind of like, yep, let's go, let's make the most of this, And little did I know about hormones and all the rest of it, but I remember the first bench press I got, it was 20 kilos on the bar. It was 10 sets of 10 reps flat bench, 10 sets of 10 reps incline bench. I got to the point where I could do all 100 non-stop type of thing. I thought that's a good start. But yeah, so I'd made the decision that I was going to be Mr. Olympia, right? Because I started getting some, buying the magazines and all the rest of it. So then turned up to Queensland. I turned up to the first bodybuilding comp, and at that point in time, I pretty much considered myself Mr. Olympia, uncrowned yet, future. I remember stepping on stage at the height I am now, 5'10" and a half, 178 centimetres, about 67 kilos, wringing wet. And we got video. We'll put up, those of you who've watching the YouTube, we'll put up a snippet of this video so you can actually see both of us in action. So that was my story of leading into that comp. What was your story leading into it? Because yours is quite different.
Yeah, for me, getting into strict, my old man was into weights. So, he run the PCYC at Wollongabba. So I grew up my childhood seeing him train and lift weights. So very similar. Like I might have been 10, 11 or 12 when I started mucking around at the gym, and I guess seeing him, and I remember his, the other police officer that helped run the PCYC, Archie, his name was, he was massive. Well, at least he seemed massive to me back then. Yeah. And I think that's, I look at that and go, oh, that's how I want to be, looking at my old man and Archie just strong, different weights. And so that got me into it. And then, with the bodybuilding, the gym that I trained at was the Muscle Factory, of course. I think you popped in every now and then. But the guys there, like I wasn't really thinking about competing, but some of the older guys, they were, and they said, you should go in it. You should go in this comp. And I went, oh, okay, yeah, whatever, I'll do it. And I remember like about 2 or 3 weeks before it, or maybe a month before, I got glandular fever.
Yep.
And I was crook as, the worst to this date I've ever been. And didn't eat nothing. So I don't know what I weighed. I had no idea about bodybuilding whatsoever.
Yeah.
I had the old man put one coat of tan on me. And as you know, that's not enough. Like one coat the night before, I'm getting all this crash course from the boys from the gym. And
you had to shave your legs for the first time?
Shave the legs, a whole beard. And back in that era, I'm playing footy, rugby league as well. It wasn't a very manly thing to do, And so I've up this comp, totally clueless. The guys at the gym helped me with the routine, which I thought the backflip would win the judges over. Wooden floor, dripping with oil, almost went ass up. So they recommend that. And it was a good experience, at that time. And then the next day I had to go and play rugby league. So I'm rocking up, shaved legs, I've still got bits of tan on me and all that. And man, like I copped it more for my teammates than the opposition. The opposition weren't game enough, but my teammates go, they were giving it to me. You go, what have you done? Shaved legs, this fucking fake tan on you. What's
in 1990, it was a weird thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, man.
Bodybuilding was very different back then. These days there's so many federations and options and so forth.
Yeah. There wasn't many there. It was NABBA and IFBB. I think that was it.
So your dieting preparation for that comp was pretty much glandular fever?
Yeah. Mate, look, even back then, I never ate. Like I trained, but I had no idea about nutrition. You were probably well advanced in that because I think it wasn't until I was really about 17 or 18 that I actually started to understand more about nutrition and eating and how that contributes to putting on muscle and size. So while I was very strong, I had no idea about eating 6-7 meals a day, protein, and I probably was getting a meat pie at the tuck shop, back then, and I had no idea about it. I just thought you lift weights.
Yeah.
It probably wasn't until I started reading the magazines that I started to get an understanding about it.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I remember when I arrived in Queensland, because around about just before Christmas, so this is about 3 months before that comp, I turned up. First thing I did was went down to McDonald's at Strathpine and got a job. Yep. So that was my first, real kind of job at 15. And the manager there, she said, what are your hobbies? I said, I'm a bodybuilder, And she's looking at me. She's going, really? She said, coincidentally enough, she goes, my brother just won the junior Mr. Queensland, and his name was Bart Vandermolen. Bart.
Yeah.
And she goes, he trains at World Gym in the city. So we're out at Strathpine, and for anyone who doesn't know Brisbane and all the rest of it, I went, okay, that's where the big guys train, right? So I went straight the next day. I went to World Gym Brisbane in the city. Signed up a 12-month membership, and every day after school I'd jump on the train, which is a 35-minute train ride from Strathpine into the city to go in to train at World Gym because I was going to be around those guys. I walked up, you must be Bart, and he became my first coach, and he put me on my first diet. So, whilst you're getting glandular fever and eating meat pies, I was dying from this ridiculously crazy diet that I was on, crash dieting over 8 weeks or whatever.
Wow.
So it's fun times. I remember that just so clearly. But I even look back to those times and have people like that at the age of 15 that took me under their wing. Yeah. Back then, helping people in competitions and all that. I mean, there was no paid, paid coaches. None of that, right? So it was just people would just help you. I remember he'd get a bit of paper out and he goes, mate, eat this breakfast, morning tea. That was it. Showed me how to do a few poses and...
It is cool. That's the difference now. I can probably see the appeal to CrossFit as a community-based training because back then in that muscle factory, they're all sheds. They're all in industrial areas back then, right?
Yep.
Apart from probably that World Gym, which is a rarity in the city. But it was, no one was getting around with headphones on. And
no.
I was a 15-year-old and I'd be working in with, I'm assuming the guys were probably about 20 or so there, mid-20s, and I'd be working in with them. They nicknamed me Arnold because even if I did chest the day before, if I saw one of the bigger guys or older guys training chest, go, working with you?
Yeah.
They go, yeah, working with me. And, and so it was really cool on that regards. It was a real community. I remember going out with them, the whole bit. So, times changed, but they were good memories.
Oh, phenomenal. I look at all those guys who took me under their wing and, hanging out with them. It was like having this people to look up to who could guide you and so forth. Tuesday nights out at Sizzler. Yeah. Anyone who remembers Sizzler, the all-you-can-eat place, it was like you went out there with the bodybuilders and it was like, that was like a dream come true for me.
And it shows you that was a true, for me, representation of mentors that have gotten lost along the way. But it was such a great experience. And if you were committed and you were dedicated and they could see that you were and that you wanted to put the effort in to learn, it shows you that's where people will be happy to give you your time. Yeah. And, and hearing your story again, I think of all these attributes that make someone successful. You moved up here. First thing you did was get a job. Yeah. Then you happen to, because of that, then you met Bart's sister and she, indicated that he trained at World in the city and then you were commuting into that. They're all the things that, hearing the stories now, I go, that's, I'm never surprised why someone ends up to be successful because you can't coach attitude and you can't coach those disciplines, and that work ethic. So already back there you go, well, you're designed to be successful, just needed the guidance where, if you don't have that, then it doesn't matter how good a coach or the people you're around are. If you don't have those attributes or you don't instill them in yourself, then you're not going to be successful.
Yeah, that's at any age for anybody,
at
right?
At any age, correct. Yeah, that's right.
It's cool. Good to reflect back on right now, that's for sure.
Yeah, and, I often, from time to time I go, well, how we have aligned and how, we first met, that story, but it is quite profound when you think about it, right? How the universe will pull people in the same direction, in the same path and make them cross paths, from you moving up here, you could have moved anywhere, but you moved at the same suburb that I was growing up in. Yeah. I had no intentions of doing that competition. Yeah. But it got asked of me, and I went, why not?
Yep.
So why not? I could have said, nah, it's not my thing.
Yeah,
Why not? I'll
bodybuilding, I'll shape my legs, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I'll do it as an experience, and as a result, that was the connection.
Yeah.
And the list goes on. So, it's cool to reflect.
That's
on
awesome.
how it all happened, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's right, because you could have easily said, fuck
that,
bodybuilding.
That. Yeah, I'm not doing that, you know. Would we have met cross paths? Maybe, but that was the common connection, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Back then, so...
Yeah. So now if we move to the all your teenage years, you excelled at rugby league, right? So tell us about that journey, because now we're moving into our teens and heading towards late teens and so forth. So you're doing quite well then, weren't you?
Yeah, I think you saying you wanted to be Miss Olympia. I more had my sights set on becoming, I guess, a professional rugby league player.
Yeah.
And I mean, I played where our office is at the Valleys. Prior to that, I was out at Pine Rivers, and even from a young age, like they just weren't in that top tier league. So I think at the age of 14 was my last year there, and I thought, I had some mates that were playing here, so I come over to Valleys, and I was super dedicated to that. And I think a part of it was doing judo. Firstly, I started judo when I was 4, so it gave me that natural strength and that core and knowing how to use your body. So I think that gave me an advantage when I come and play rugby league. And then doing weights, because like I said, back then, I know in my team, even here, there might have been 1 or 2 other guys that were lifting weights, and that was it. But went through, made a lot of rep teams, played rep footy, and it was when I was about I think 18, 19. I was playing at Valley Seniors, and I actually remember it very clearly. I went from Colts, and I got selected to play in the A grade team, at the age of 18 or 19.
Yeah.
Which was pretty rare.
Quite an honour.
Brad Thorne was playing at that time. Shane Webke was around. So, Danny Nutley, Clinton O'Brien. There was some
big names there.
Yeah, that went on. Chris McKenna, and the list goes on. And but I'd put on a fair bit of weight. I thought, I'm coming up to senior footy, better bulk up. And again, not having the support and all that, and the the advice that I could have gotten, I probably just put on too much weight in a period of time. So I went from maybe when I was playing under 18s, I was probably around about 100, 102, which is pretty good weight. But then I went up over the off season, I blew up to about 113.
Yeah.
And this is where I really just, I guess, started to realize I got to eat more, and I got probably too obsessed with putting on too much weight
or watching the number on the scale.
Yeah, thinking I've got to get bigger and bigger because I'm going to go and play this next level footy, and I end up getting I got stress fractures in my shins.
Oh, yeah.
And I persisted with it, and I had my coach at the time go, just run them out. I go, mate, and I was wearing these cheap ass shoes. You've heard the story, the Aero Sports, and they were crap. They were like a cheap ass basketball shoes. We're doing all this road running. I've just put on 12 kilos in the off season, and my shins just couldn't cop it. And unfortunately, I even missed out on playing that A grade team. We were out over at Ipswich, and I couldn't play because I ended up getting X-rays done that week prior.
Yep.
And they said, you've got stress fractures, you're going to have to take a break. And so then I missed the rest of that particular season. Kevin Brash, he was my deputy principal at my primary school. He was actually involved with the Queensland Rugby League.
Yeah.
He recognised my name because I still kept the booklet they used to do back then for the A grade, because the Queensland League was big still back then.
Yeah,
he'd come all the way out to watch, and I couldn't play because it was just unbearable to even walk. So that's when I took time off, and just to give myself something to do and a focus. That's when I got into more bodybuilding, and the gym I was training with at the time out at Burton Gary, Sue, and she owned it. And again, that's when I thought, well, she asked me, why don't you want to do a bodybuilding comp? And I went, yeah, well, I've got nothing else. I can't play footy at the moment. So then I dieted down and got into bodybuilding, and I actually fell in love with it. And then I just didn't go back to footy after that. So that was my last year playing football. And I remember being in Sydney, seeing my sister at the time, and I did get offered to go and trial at Cronulla and all that. But it's funny, just maybe where I was at the time, and just lost interest in it all. And I think if I had when I say it out loud, I feel like I've got to make excuses, but I feel like at that young age, if I had someone a better support team around me. I could have been guided better.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, to my own devices, I went, I'll stop playing. I think in my mind, I thought I'd just have a year off and I'll go back. But then I just got hooked on the bodybuilding.
Yeah. It's amazing that lifestyle, isn't it, the bodybuilding lifestyle? Because and so two things, I guess, back to like the advice you get, because again, like there just wasn't access to information, right? No. Like going to a physiotherapist or going to some sort of treatment was just unheard of.
Yeah.
Like we probably had a similar upbringing in family where there wasn't really like the money or the budget for these sort of extravagant things. I remember having what I now know as a rotator cuff injury that I would have had when I was 16. Because I had this pain in my shoulder, and I look back at it now and I go, that was classic rotator cuff, supraspinatus impingement. I remember going to the gym, going, all right, I can't do side raises. Yeah, I figured out that for chest I could get the pec deck, and I could kind of put my arms out and squeeze the thing together and do these. So I did 12 sets of this sort of retarded sort of movement thing. But that's what happened. Stress fractures. Hey mate, just run it out. You know, there's all this stuff. You look back and it's just.
Mate, they were telling me to tape. I had electrical tape, like just taping my shins up while we're running, and like that will just do it. And it's like no one even said, mate, you maybe just go get an X-ray, or that was off my own bat to go, this pain is getting unbearable.
Yeah,
I think it's more than just muscular or whatever. I can feel it, and I'm fucking glad I did, because it could have probably snapped. They were quite bad.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's amazing. Yeah. And then to talk about the bodybuilding lifestyle, I mean, I look at, I did that comp when we were 15, and then I competed 15, 17, 19, and at 21 was when I won the Junior Australia.
So you took a year off to bulk up or something, did you?
Yeah, back then it was kind of like it was, take the year off, get bigger, get stronger, all the rest of it. And the whole way through, I mean, going through high school and, turning up, eating tuna and rice for school every day. Like it was just full like bodybuilder. Yeah. My room was full of pictures of semi-naked men,
So was mine.
So, but I look back at that lifestyle, and it encapsulates like everything you do, like all the food you eat, the training you do, the rest you get, and all that. And to me, it represented like the ultimate sport. Although it's sort of where that art meets sport, and like how do you even classify that? But to me, it was just like the ultimate, because everything I did, I used to track my food every day, all the rest of it. Like it was phenomenal.
A lot of discipline, right?
Yeah.
In it all, because it doesn't just, the training's one part, but then, like you said, tracking your food and tracking what you're lifting and the progress you're making if you wanted to go down that path. There's a lot more to it, right?
Yeah.
Fascinating.
And now I was going to say the other part that someone told me many years ago, it's like the mirror is to the bodybuilder is like the stopwatch to the 100-meter runner.
Yeah.
So it was like you're tracking your progress every day based on results and change and how the body, It's amazing, eh?
So then I guess like for people tuning in with this then is like, so that was, when did you actually realise you go, okay, well I think I'm done with the bodybuilding, and because you won the Junior Miss Australia title, was what, at that point did you go, well I think I'm done here, I think this is it for me?
I think there was a point came sometime through that teenage years when I figured out that if you want to become a Mr. Olympia, you got to take copious amounts of drugs.
Yeah.
Before that, I was completely clueless to all that.
So the magazines where it said game of frack and all
just drink the Weeder protein powder.
The Joe Weeder protein powder.
Those motherfuckers lie to me, because I've been drinking all this stuff. I don't look anything like those guys. So I figured that part out. But also when I hit that spot, I remember sort of probably a bit like when you with the rugby league, I was like, I'd hit the juniors, I'd been competing, I'd been doing it that whole time. And I was like, hey, I need to I'm moving up into seniors, from juniors to seniors. I might just take some time out to like try and get bigger or whatever. But then I started like just moving into sort of different sports. It was actually nice to not be so focused on training chest and tries, back and buys, I started doing some running, and I started doing some cross training. And back then, I mean, there was no sort of CrossFit-y type stuff, right? But it was just like, hey, when I went down the pool and started swimming laps, I'm going, wow, there's a whole new world out here,
That's a totally different end of the spectrum, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. And it was kind of that turning point. That's when it's, around about that time when I was 20, 21, as you started as a PT. So I started learning, and by about my last comp was in 1995.
Yep.
And then it's by about 1996, 97 as I started getting exposed to Paul Check, and bench pressing off Swiss balls and, you know, doing all this sort of stuff. And I was going, man, there's a fucking whole new world out here of training and ways of looking at things. Because, you know, prior to that, the previous 10 years from the age of 12 right through to almost 22 was just focused on bodybuilding style, 3-day splits, you know, chest shoulder tries, legs back and bis, all that, all great stuff. It all worked. But it was like a breath of fresh air to try something new.
Yeah, I remember even when, I mean, it was a bit later on, but even Mark McKean, who we know really well, he's another Brisbane boy, and he would come out to do some training with our trainers as well, and it just it was mind blowing. This new way of like looking at how you got imbalances and how to correct that, and again it's all evolved also, but it was just, you're right. Prior to that myself, it was just bodybuilding style training.
Yep.
I learned a bit of powerlifting and stuff from my old man, but it was mainly the chest and tries and back and bis, and I go, hang on, this is a whole new world here with the way to train, look at the body and different facets of it. So and again, it's just exploded now. Also the technology, right, and the advancement. But it's funny looking back.
Oh, it's fascinating, phenomenal. Yeah. So you competed, you were playing rugby, and you got back into competition. What was that, around about 19 or 20 thereabouts?
Yeah, I was 19. That was when I stopped mid through the year playing footy, and I did a juniors to Brisbane, which I won, junior Queensland. And then it was just a big year of dieting, and then I looked really good in the Australia, but the guys down there was junior. They were gassed to the eyeball. That's probably when I learned to go you're probably going to need to get on it. I looked great, but just over dieted. Leaned too far down. I was super shredded, and again, I did have help, but I took it into my own account. I think I got obsessed with getting leaner and leaner and leaner. Yeah, and probably sacrificed a bit of muscle. But that was that first year, and then I went again the following year and did a couple of comps that year as well. And then it was just after that I moved to Melbourne, and I was just bulking up. That was when I got up to 155 kilos.
155. That's amazing. We'll have to find that photo and flash it up. That's a cracker, that one.
It got into some strongman stuff and all that, and then I've without going into the depths of that detail, but that's when I was kind of lost my way a little bit in life, and I was a bit needed a focus. So that's when I did another bodybuilding comp, and from 155, I got all the way down to, I think I competed on stage at maybe 106 or 107.
Wow. So you basically lost 50 kilos. Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah. Can you remember the time frame that you gave yourself?
It was about 6 months.
Yeah.
It was about 6 months. And, it was good. That was a good time too, because down then I was training at Dolby's off and on, and Mike's gym, which is a big gym, a lot of bodybuilders around there. Some of these names people may not remember, but Mark Lampard, he just had turned pro, he was Australian there. Sonny Smith was training out of Dolby.
Yeah, so some amazing names.
Yeah, got to get around a lot of good guys, and a
lot of depths of knowledge there and experience. And gee, must have been an eye-opening experience too.
It was excellent. So that was my last show. Then it was at that point too for me. I went, a bit like yourself, going, look, this bodybuilding lifestyle too, if you really want to go places, then you're going to have to pump the gear, and I don't even think, I think natural comps were in there, but it was I'm still nowhere near as big.
Yeah, they were still, the 1995, I went in it was the IMBA.
So 1999 was my last comp, I think.
99, was it? Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, 99, I'm pretty sure. It was rather 98 or 99. I think it was 99, because I moved back to Brisbane in 2000.
Then in 1995 I did the INBA, and I come second at that Junior Australia, and about 2 weeks later I did the ANBB, it was called back then, and I won that Junior Australia. So right. But there wasn't much around, but then they definitely started growing after that, didn't they?
Yeah, it's exploded. So
it's phenomenal. So 99, but those photos, we've got to put the before and afters, because they're phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating tracking time, but I would have been, because I think it was about 25. I must have been 25, I reckon.
Yeah,
at that age. So Yeah, and I just went, I'm done. I'm done with this, you know. I'm done with it. And that's when I moved back to Brizzy and got involved in the gym, extreme fitness, as you know. And I thought, like, you know, it's time now to really focus in on, you know, business and
during this journey, I mean, we were still, you know, crossing paths, staying connected, you know. And I remember coming out to Extreme Gym that you guys had. Yeah. And that was huge, you know. That was a mecca of the day. Like, what did the dumbbells go up to then? Like,
shit, I don't know what somebody got done, but
70s.
I think 70s. Yeah, I think he made them actually.
It was so cool. I remember, 2001 we connected, and I came out and I trained legs with you there. That's and right. I remember that was just a brutal like leg session, and it just went forever. And I remember not being able to walk for about a week.
You weren't really training that way then.
Nah, I'd sort of moved into the kind of, I was doing I guess I call it in functional style training. Yeah. You know, I'd started to move away from muscles into movements.
Yeah.
And I was sort of adopting that in my own personal training style. And in some ways it was kind of early kind of CrossFit-y style stuff, but still with a strength foundation.
Yeah.
But like a lot of blend to it, you know. But coming out and then doing a 20 set
hack squat and all that
berserker mental intensity leg session with you. I remember you going, let's just warm up, just plate after plate you were piling on. I remember that very clearly. But so we've only got to about the age of 20. We're 50, right? So the people are going to be asleep. If we go year by year, because we've done a lot of shit in between that. I went and did triathlons, run marathons, mountain bike races. You went in MMA fights and all the rest of it. Let's fast forward to like what the current routine looks like, because I guess I look back and I go, at the age of 50, I've been lifting weights for it's almost 40 years, right? And someone said to me, hey mate, how do I get a set of arms like you? I said, mate, start lifting 40 years ago. When's the next best time? We'll start lifting today. But so currently, I mean, like it happens all the time. You post from out the boys. Let's talk about your current regime and what you do at the age of 50, well, 49, almost 50. So tell us about what you do. Let's start with the jiu-jitsu and under Dan Higgins and so forth.
Yeah, well, I've trained under Dan for 20 odd years, and like you said, started out more as MMA doing that. And look, at least 2 days a week. Now it was 3, but 2 days a week for 2 hours at a time. I'll go out to Redcliffe and train at Dan's garage. It's called the Garage Combat, and so but we do everything. So we'll do wrestling, we'll do striking, we'll do MMA and ground, and I love it because it's a mixed age group, mainly older guys.
Yeah.
A lot. Dan works in the corrective services, so he works out of there, and so a lot of the guys that work with Dan or have worked with Dan out of the jails, they come and train. So it's a good release for me. It's the thing that I love the most because one, like you said, up at 3:30, training at 4:30 a.m. till about 6:30 in the morning. But it keeps me in check. It's really it's like we all call it like therapy, because when you're there and you're waking up at 3:30 and at 4:30, you're getting choked or dodging punches or whatever. You got to be switched on.
You got to be on your game,
and you can't think about anything else. So it's my favorite thing to do. With my weekly schedule. So, about 4 to 6 hours. I mean, of late it's been more like 4 hours a week of that.
And training under Dan Higgins is no joke, right? So those who know Dan, who from the space, will know of his reputation and so forth. But every time I've said it, I've mentioned it to people over all the years. We've been in business for 17 years.
Yeah.
And when I'm talking to people, they say, "Oh, the big fella, he's into jiu-jitsu or whatever." And I go, "Yeah, he trains under Dan Higgins." "Oh, Dan, well, he's a black belt. Well, that's a real black belt then, right? That's a legit black belt, right?"
Yeah, it's different. I really call it combat. I'm a first degree black belt in BJJ and judo, a black belt. But I mean, nowadays it's just combat, like it's everything. So there's a big difference. That's why people go, under Dan, because, a traditional, sometimes a lot of BJJ, they only start on the ground, they only start off their back, and, they don't have a wrestling base, they don't do striking. So if you're going to go and train out with us, look, his reputation comes back when he was fighting.
Yeah.
And we were we were back and integrated, and the fighters, and it was like you did not go there unless you were up for it, you know. So it had the reputation. Now it's not that way, but still guys may come in and they don't last because, you know, you've got to be prepared to take punches and do the striking and all the rest of it. So if you're only after pure like jiu-jitsu, it's probably not the place for you.
Yeah, there's a high standard there.
There's a high standard, and if you get graded, you've fucking definitely earned it.
Yeah.
You know, the gradings are, you know, you've got to get put through the ringer, and fair enough, because if it was me and I was in Dan's spot, I'd want that as well. When people go, oh, well, you've earned that if you got a black belt. It's like, but who did you get the black belt from? You know, is important. So that's that part. And then, you know, like I aim to train strength training at least 3 days a week. I've really enjoyed it of late. Big Darren Donaldson, who's been a client of ours.
Superstar Trainer HQ client, yep.
Yeah, well, he...
Big DD.
He would, you know, when he was going online and doing his online program, he goes, mate, can I put you through one just so you can see the service? And it's back to like a bodybuilding style training, which I haven't done for years, but I've really been enjoying it. Sometimes it could be counterproductive with the fight training because, you know, having DOMs and all that's not that conducive, but I've found a way to manage that.
Yeah.
Prior to that, I would do what you'd say is, you know, just strength training where it would be a, you know, push, pull, hinge.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was doing that for ages. And my aim was just to stay strong and be more functional. And then I'll just definitely make sure I get, you know, the cardio in as well. Like I do at least 2 HIIT sessions per week, you know. Walking the dog, but pretty much something every day if there's active rest.
Yeah, I mean your jiu-jitsu is no joke either in terms of cardio conditioning, right? So
yeah, man, I'm the sorest from doing that. I had 2 weeks off just recently, and I went back, and it felt like I'd played a couple of games of footy.
Yeah,
because I mean, but you can go as hard or as not hard as you want to when you do the competitive sparring part. So you know, we do the technique, and then we always finish with randori, which is just competitive. You know, wrestling, grappling, striking, or all that, you know.
Yeah.
And I probably went a bit hard when I come back, and I was like, man, I was so sore. I just feel like I want to sleep during the day.
Well, you've described it to me before. You've said it's like the footy tackle that never ends.
Yeah, it is. It's just, it's what it's like.
But speaking about the discipline too, so just back to the 3:30 get up and all the rest of it. So, I mean, for you, there's a commitment to travel out there, right? So
about 30 minutes,
Yeah, so you got to get up early, you know, and again, You do it, you make it happen. Like it actually starts at 4:30, doesn't it?
Yeah, it starts at 4:30, up at 3:30. Get prepped, get ready.
Yeah,
and then you know I'm out the door by about 3:55.
Yeah,
to get there, plenty of time. So yeah, and that part people go, look, there's some guys that travel from the Gold Coast, Bribie Island. I mean, that's probably says a lot about Dan.
Yep.
And that people are prepared to travel that far. Woodford, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of people travel even further than I do.
Yeah.
And even people in the game who do it go, you guys are fucking crazy if I can train at that. But we all love it. I love it because then it's done and dusted.
Yeah.
I much prefer that. I do occasional Thursday nights and I don't enjoy it as much because then I get home and I'm still awake at midnight.
Yeah.
You know, so. But yeah, I think that part, again, back to the discipline, it's like, I love it. We all wear it as a badge of honor that while we're up doing that, people are sleeping and then, you know, so it's also that part of that warrior spirit of getting up and doing what other people probably aren't prepared to do.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it, but we do.
Yeah, it's so cool. Like it's great to watch and you look 20 years because I mean, when you kicked off, you didn't set out to earn your black belt, did you? You were just doing it because you wanted to, you know, explore this style of training.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'd had a long break from martial arts, and a mutual friend, Justin Watt, wanted to get into MMA, and I started giving him a hand. I said, "But I'm not the guy." So I was well aware of Dan, and we went down. What he probably lasted a few months, if that, and then next minute I'm 20 years down the track and still going. And from back then being younger and fighting, it was nothing about belts, no gi, none of that stuff. To then, as we got older and evolved, it's like now it's the belts was a cool thing to revisit and go back in and have something to strive for. But it's the belt. It's not about the belt. It's about just improving every day, which is what I love about the art. Is that it's just if you get into it because you want to be a black belt, you won't last.
Yeah.
If you get in it because you just want to be better every day, then you'll go well.
Yeah, you met some amazing people that have come through that cohort as well. Clients of ours like Brant, Damien Brown, who's now, kicking ass. Like, it's so cool to watch all this stuff who've also become clients of ours as well.
Yeah, and just one of our other guys in the team, Stewie Nichols, he's just got himself in the UFC. So, you know, where, again, I love surrounding myself with people that whatever they do, they're at the top of their game. Yeah. They be around the best, go and seek out who's the best in that arena.
Yeah. It's inspiring,
hey? Yeah. It's so cool. Yeah.
So cool. So, and then in terms of a similar pathway, you're offered there 2-3 times a week. Yeah. My goal is to get to CrossFit, around about 3 times a week. And, same thing. It's up early. Yeah. It's like the 5 a.m. class. We got the group in there called the Silverbacks. And who are the Silverbacks? They're all the old bastards who are, 40 years plus, who are out there throwing down. And it's just like, it's rewarding to get yourself around like-minded people who who really like support you on your journey, which I find really cool.
I've had the pleasure of meeting, so especially at your party, a lot of the guys, and I think especially as for men in particular, like again the garage, we'll sit back, have a beer after training sometimes. But I see that in the Silverbacks, right? So you found something. Obviously, you've been doing for what must be going on
10 years or so.
Has to be, yeah. And there's way more to it than just the training, right? Because if you just went and did your own training, because me training at the gym, it's I still enjoy it, I love it, but that's the part I love the most. So I'm assuming for yourself, it's way more than just the training part, right? With the Silverbacks.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's that connection. It's like knowing that, we're going through similar things in terms of the bodies. Maybe doesn't move as great as it once did. There's a healthy level of competitiveness. Yeah. There's certain attributes that some people do better than others, and we hang shit on each other in the most playful way, so it's like ticks the box on all these levels, So
how many, because we've got the office gym here. Yeah. And I know you'll sometimes once or twice a week there, right? But
that's right.
But then, so how many days you at CrossFit?
Yeah, so CrossFit 3 days a week. So that's the goal, to get to 3 of those, scheduled sessions. And typically like a 5 a.m. class is the ideal. Yeah. 5 a.m. till 6 a.m. And then at 6 a.m. I'll do extras. So I'll go up the back and do some more squats or whatever it might be. So I'll usually train for about, I'll do the 5 a.m. till 6 and might train for another half an hour or 45 minutes. Yeah. So it takes up a good hour and a half, thereabouts of time. 3 days a week. Then once a week, I'll do an Olympic lifting session. Yep. And I'll either do that here at the office. Sometimes I do it at CrossFit. I've got a set up at home. I'm quite spoilt for choice in terms of gyms and options. So it depends what we've got on. So sometimes I might clock on early, and rip into business early and train here at 11 or 12 noon. So I do that. Mountain biking. And I do that, once a week, quite often twice a week. So that's usually a weekend pursuit. Myself and HP will go out, and I've got another fella, a couple of guys I ride with on a Thursday morning. Trev's turning 60, and this guy's a fucking weapon. Yeah, right. Talking about, inspiring guys. So while we're doing the climb, Trev rides up the climb, turns around, comes back, and while we're climbing, he does it twice,
Really?
Yeah, he's that bloke, so.
He's the Dave Goggins of the mountain bike.
He is, yeah. So 3 CrossFits, 1 Olympic lifting session, 1 or 2 mountain bikes, 1 run. I enjoy going for a run. I find that as therapy. And again,
would you say the mountain bike and the run, are they more like almost like an active rest, or is it like, do you pushing yourself?
Yeah, the mountain biking's tough. Yeah, absolutely. Running, going for a 10K run, I do it at a moderate pace, so I'm never really punishing myself on that. Although there's a lot of load on the body, like running 10Ks at 112 kilos or something, the body's going, come on, buddy. Yeah. But I find that as therapy. And then maybe once a week or once a fortnight, I'll do a traditional, in the gym bodybuilding session. Go to the Genesis, whatever. Sometimes we go to World Gym at Stafford.
Well, that's our thing. If we meet up for a workout on a Friday or whatever, it's always just a pump session, right? Just getting together, get the bodybuilding pump session on. It's just fun and easy. It's enjoyable. We can have our chat and You know, where, you know, we used to do a lot of the hit stuff, right? In the early days, and that would be you're not chatting. No. Then it was just annihilation, wasn't it, back then?
Yeah. So if I usually look at a fortnight and I go, all that, you know, because you go, well, how do you fit in all this running and mountain biking and all that? Well, across a fortnight, I'll probably might run once and, you know, mountain bike, you know, 3 times, and, you know, right. Again, I don't instinctive. I'll take a rest when I need it. So I don't actually specifically go, oh, Friday's my rest day or Sunday or whatever. It's just like when I need rest, I'll take it. Yeah. Might go for 7 days and do all that, and then might have 2 days off, you know. So
that's probably the difference from when you're younger to now. Like, you would not miss the work. Like, it would be the split, wouldn't matter how sore you were.
Meticulous,
where now you're saying that, you're right. You're going, if you feel like you need an extra day recovery, well, you take an extra day recovery. You know, and I mean, on that point, you know, you look at our, you know, how much we probably put into recovery now. So what do you typically do for your recovery? You know, because we know that's just as important as the training. Yeah, probably more so.
That's right. Yeah. And I guess both of us, like, when was it? You know, 2 or so years ago, we bought the saunas.
Yeah, got the saunas.
Got the sauna at home. I got the ice bath at home. So we've got that whole routine happening.
I got a fucking massage chair, compression boots. Like,
you got it all at your place.
It's like the perfect.
You should charge a fee for people to come there. You could actually.
It could do. Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, the routine I like at home is the sauna ice bath combo, and it's 15 in the sauna, 5 in the ice bath, and repeat that 3 times, and there's my ideal spot.
Yeah, I love it.
We got the ice bath here in the office. We crank that out.
Looking at it right here, actually, as we're talking. Yeah, I'm like Matt, similar thing. Got the sauna definitely 3 to 4 times a week in the sauna. I haven't done the ice bath as much of late, but the sauna definitely do the compression boots, the massage chair. But then every fortnight I get the massage treatment, 90 minutes, and I've thought about you, but I find for me that's I've got my routine down that. How I say it, like, probably stops me from breaking. So where I think in earlier days it's more like train intensely, maybe get an injury, then have to go and correct it, and then nothing, and then re-injured again, and then be back, and then I learned going, well, what works for me, and that seems to work really well. My mobility stuff and stuff I do at home and all the other stuff that I do, like, I'm definitely not spending the hours and hours doing yoga or stretching and all that stuff. But I found what probably helps me with mobility and with recovery. Yep. And it's more maintenance now to make sure. And I know if I miss it, like if I miss the 2-week massage and all the routine I was talking about, and still try to train it the way I do with all the different stuff I do, combat weights, I'm going to notice it. Something's going to happen. Yeah.
And that's getting that's wisdom, right? That's getting smarter and getting in tune with your body. And I think back to starting CrossFit, 10 years ago, roughly around about the age of 40 then. Yeah. And I remember at the start, I was just fucking banged up all the time. I was always tweaking a lat or
I remember you were doing like fucking 4 hits a week.
That's right. I was trying to get there 5 days a week and, trying to learn all these new skills and drills and all that sort of stuff, because the learning curve was huge. And, I remember just constantly being banged up and going, all right, you got to find your happy balance, right? Because you can't keep doing this.
Run down, I guess, when you're like, flus and that, because your body's just fucked. Trying to recover.
I remember, I just remember constantly being tweaked. But so finding the current routine, I'd say for me, for my body especially, at the age of 50, it seems to work, right? Yeah, I can still train hard when I want to. I can still pull back accordingly. But I look at this historically for both of us, and I go, really, the big thing that I see is consistency, right? Yeah. So I've never known from the time, we're like for the last 20 years, we've been, very close. We've known each other's routine. Like, I've never known a time when you haven't been like following that similar routine or a version of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It'd be, well, like I said, any time as if I've purposely taken a week off or I've been sick or whatever.
So it's a testament to it. And I guess then moving over to nutrition, we see each other. We in the office so often we see each other. We could probably list each other's regime, but I guess the thing I've found,
the smell of tuna in the office, or fucking kangaroo fucking cooking up, and it's it's the eggs, the avocado. It's I could name yours probably better than mine.
But people say, like, they ask all the time, what do you do? What do you eat? All that sort of stuff. So for me, sort of going back, I'd say 7 or so years ago when I started to switch into this sort of quasi-keto style of eating.
Yeah.
And I remember trying the original Di Pasquale cyclic ketogenic, 25 years ago, where it was like, you eat really high fat, high protein, and then on the weekends you just binge on cheesecakes and all the rest of it and pizzas, and then you cycle that in and out. But when I found, switched over to this style of eating, what I definitely found for me was that, the energy levels were completely different. And what I mean by that is when I look back to maybe 15 years ago when I was predominantly eating really high carbohydrates, I was constantly hungry.
Yeah.
I was constantly on energy highs and lows. And I couldn't wait for the next meal. I was always thinking about food, And so when I switched over to this style of eating, it was like the body. Anyway, this is for me personally. I would never really say I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I never really say I'm desiring food. It's like this, the level of fat, produces this level of satisfaction that seems to carry me through, and the energy levels seem really consistent.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating. So I kick off the day with, the butter coffee, 15 grams of butter, 30 grams of cream in the coffee, strong coffee. And that sets me up, go and train. And then post workout, it's, into the protein. And then I probably eat around about, maximum about 50 grams of carbs a day.
That's it.
Which, for a lot of people is like, fuck, how do you do that? And I go, well, the fat intake's definitely up there, which provides that level of satisfaction.
I've seen it. It's definitely worked for you. I've witnessed you, you on it for, like you said, all that time, and definitely it's working extremely well. And I think that's the thing, you got to figure out what works for
your body.
It's why when I hear people go this or that, I go, well, you can't say that. It's like I tried vegetarian for 6 months to maybe 8 months, and I just felt terrible on it, and I gave it a real proper go. Yeah, and I just didn't recover. I felt terrible when I trained, and I'm sure for the next person they may feel amazing. Yeah, but I wanted to experience it before I start rubbishing anything or goes, that doesn't work. I go, well, open mind, let's go for it. But 8 months on it, or 10 months, it just didn't feel good at all. So that wasn't for me. Yeah. So let's go through your right from start. So let's say you got the 4:30 training. Yeah. Do you have anything to eat before that, or what? Yeah. Look, I went and saw Ange Clark, who you know.
Yep, we know Ange very well.
She's now morphed into more dealing with women, menopause, but she's I guess sports dietitian is what I understood. Yeah. And so I went and saw her when I just training and eating more for performance at that stage and to lose some body fat. So typically what I'll do if I got jiu-jitsu at 4:30, I'll get up, I'll rather have the coffee with MCT oil in it. Yep. Or if I don't have the MCT oil, I typically have a banana that was as recommended by herself. Yep. In summer, we're also taking like a hydrolyte or something for a train because you just sweat like anything. Crazy with the gi, and then afterwards. So even all that stuff was cool. So on those days, that's what I'll do. And then after I train, I come back, typically in the office, I have an omelette, or I'll rather have an omelette with 4 eggs, half an onion, zucchini, and 50 grams of smoked ham. Or on alternative days, I might do similar to you. I'll have the 4 eggs and I'll have the half avocado with it. Yeah. And then lunch, typically, what I've been doing for the last over a year is I've been getting the Muscle Chef meals. Yep, that's right. You crank those up on a daily. And Ange, again, she selected the ones that were, I guess, at that particular time, the ones that were going to meet what I was trying to achieve with it. So I've got a variety of ones I can use. I got in the habit of it. I love it. Yep. I love it. And then typically I'll have, I'll have that Pro yogurt, the protein yogurt, protein in it, some berries, a couple of berries in it. And then, dinner can be, whatever we decide to cook. It can be steak, veggies, chicken, something along those lines. But I'd say for me, it's more that balanced of, moderate carbohydrates. Yep. The days that I train harder at jiu-jitsu, I definitely find I will have an increase of carbohydrates. For me, it helps me in my recovery. But that's pretty basic. It's a pretty basic setup. And the only thing that will spill it over is if I'm drinking more. So, which I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm a huge drinker during the week typically. I did find as I got a bit older, there was a time where I was getting into like, you know, if you come around to my place in my 30s and 40s, unlikely I'd have beer or wine in there. But I reckon the last couple of years that there was a period there where, you know, I'd definitely have a carton sitting in the cupboard and, you know, then that would make its way into the fridge more importantly, and then wine. So, but then I like, you know, started the year, because we had a big back end of the year before.
Yeah.
There was a lot of events and a lot of party by choice.
Yep.
I definitely took a good 4 or 5 months off where I just, drinking none at all. But, yeah, that's typically the routine. And what I like about us is that, you know, I find, and, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, we live a really good, healthy lifestyle. We do all the stuff we've been talking about, but we also enjoy life as well.
Yeah.
Where I have, and each to their own, but then I have seen people that just fucking stressing about, you know, this, and I've had this meal, I've had that, and I'll drink, and to me that's more unhealthy than actually just having the stuff.
Yeah.
And having a few drinks and enjoying it, you know. So I was like that when I was younger.
Yep.
I'd beat myself up. I'd miss a workout, or if I got on the piss, I'd really beat myself up about it. And now it's like, man, I'm just in here to enjoy life, do the 80-20 rule. You know? So when people ask me, you probably don't drink much and all that, I go, I can. I can. But like, more importantly, if there's something on socially, I'm like, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
100%. It's I look at that, think about that 80-20 rule, and I look at what you just described, and again, we've been in this particular office for at least 10 years, I'd say now.
Easy, yeah.
And I look back and I go, consistently that routine hasn't really changed, you know. No. So it's been practically the same. Like I said, we could probably list each other's. You know, mine's very similar. I have the 50 grams of carbs post workout, protein shake. Next meal will be 4 fried eggs in the pan in butter with half an avocado.
Yeah.
Meal after that, as you've described, it's usually 150 grams of kangaroo mince, veggies, half an avocado.
Yeah.
The afternoon meal, something like, you know, 50 grams of peanut butter and a protein shake, or 50 grams of nuts and a bone broth or something like that. Yeah. So again, there's the main meals. At dinner, like we're barbecuing, you know, 5 out of 7 nights. Atlantic salmon, eye fillet, you know, fish, whatever it is, usually combined with salad and veggies. Like, it's real plain, man. It's like there's nothing extravagant to it. And I just go, we do that and that routine for, like, you know, 80, probably 90% of the time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So then you're amazed at what you can actually get away with in terms of, like, you know, then when you are drinking beer, and, you know, as you know, I love a beer or many, right? And I don't just like 1 or 2. It's like, well, to me, my 1 or 2 is like 6 or 8 or 10, right? Followed up by half a bottle of red wine or maybe a full bottle, right? And then you go, when you do everything right and you're training right, your rest is correct, and you're nutritionally looking after yourself, you can get away with doing that stuff, you know. And then I love my fair share of shit food, right? So then, like you said, have that many beers and the you know, the in terms of the your what's the word, your ability to say no to whatever, chocolate, fucking biscuits, whatever, that drops dramatically, right?
It does. Do you have because I have a weight range, like I go, like, for me these days 110, like I mean, and it's not just weight, right? We know it's like if you're 110 but, you know, you're at 8% body fat, or it's still weight, right? It's still weight, but I mean, there's a couple of things now. You go, getting older, you know, 50's not old, but getting older, like, probably not the time to be at the top end of weight, heart, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I've got this thing, like, it's like 110 is my max. I tipped over that at the end of last year. I think I creeped up to 115, 16. And again, my thing, and I say to people, is like, I just allowed myself, as by choice, right? I'm totally fine with it. I'm making these decisions. I'm cool with it, right? I'm making the choice. I'm choosing to do this, right?
Yeah.
I don't complain about it. But then once the new year start back, go, right, you know, and got back down to 1.7, you know. So for me, it's that nothing over 110 typically is like a lot. I don't like to creep over that.
Yeah.
So I do have that buffer between 1.5. I still feel good. For wrestling and combat, I find it's good. Once I get under that, not so much. I like, you know, for my particular game. Do you have it? Do you ever like go like, oh, I've probably got this range, or I probably should be mindful that if I if I get to 115 can be 120.
Yeah, it can definitely be that. I don't jump on the scales very often these days.
Yeah. But right?
I can feel it.
You could go, I'm about to jump on the scales. I know I'm 115. I can tell you before I jump on the scales, I'm going to be 16. I'm going to be 110.
Yeah. So mine is sort of in that 110 to 115 zone.
Yeah.
And I can push up to 120. So I have been known over the Christmas time to sort of, wear a beard so I can contain a few of the chins over that time. But at around about 110, I know I can hover, closer to, 10, 11, 12% body fat.
Yeah.
And I go at 110 in CrossFit, and it seems weird because people look at me and go, how the fuck do you do CrossFit?
Yeah. No one believes you, I think, when you say that.
Those funky ass chin-ups that you guys reckon, you reckon are pull-ups,
Yeah.
So I notice it when I'm doing like butterfly pull-ups for multiple reps. I go at 110, I'm just so efficient and just move so freely. At 116, 117, oh yeah, the body's going fucking hell, bro. Look after me,
Well, I guess it's like doing your max bench press, right? Whatever that may be, and then you all of a sudden take off fucking 20 kilos. It's going to feel like nothing, right?
Yeah. And I can find I can have quite an easy 5 kilo swing as well. Yeah. So this might be just a percentage of total weight. So if you're sitting at 112 kilos, it's easy to swing. I can put on 5 kilos. I can also lose 5 kilos really easily,
It's fucking crazy. We're both similar. Like I'm the same. It's still at this age. I'm sure there's a part where it may not be the case, but yeah, I'm the same. Over a weekend, fucking easy, put on a couple, no problem. But I also have the ability to get it off reasonably efficient as well.
Yeah.
Probably to a certain point, right? 1.5. After that, I'm it's starting to be really strict, I find. But
it's fascinating. Hey, so I wonder where this is, like you said, where this is going to head for us into the next, say, 20 years. To go, okay, we're going to be walking around at 110 kilos, 70-year-olds, or
I don't think so. I think in my mind, I'm already going to, it'll slowly be it'll be a slow downgrade process where it's maybe fitter, still strong, will always play a part in it, but maybe going, I don't want to. I mean, in shape or not, it's still weight on the heart, right? So I'm going, I think as 60s, it's like, get around that 100 kilo, and then see from there,
But yeah, I guess in summary, like the thing I observe about you is, like I said, it's consistency, right? So you've done all this, the eating, the food, like again, we look back on all this stuff. It's like it doesn't really change, right? It's actually boring, for want of a better word. I personally don't sit there like craving, oh, fuck, I wish I didn't have to eat the chicken or the kangaroo or the fried eggs. Like, oh, not 4 fried eggs and avocado again. You've seen me. I'll lick my lips to that shit every day, don't I?
Yeah. Well, I think then that's, the variety comes from when you eat out or you're going to restaurants, which, we do often. So, it's, you say boring and like you compare it to business, I say like the stuff that we do, it's, you don't think new? No, we're doing what we know works really well, and we've done it for 17 years in business. There's a formula.
Yeah.
People fuck it up when they start trying to mix and change. Oh, I'm bored with that. Like, but hang on, was it working? Well, why the fuck did you change it?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Like, with what we're describing here with how we train and eat, we know it works.
Yeah.
We get the result, and we don't have to think about it. It's on auto now.
Yeah.
So it leaves time for more important shit that we've got. So we know how to manage that part of our health, our fitness, our strength, because it works. But if you kept changing it all the time, then it's a distraction from more important stuff, business, family, investments, whatever that, if you imagine every day you're going, right, what's the new recipe?
Yeah,
I'm on YouTube, I'm researching for 2 hours. Like, if that's your thing, good.
Oh, fuck, that'd be painful, wouldn't it?
Fuck that, though.
Yeah. It's a bit like us turning up. We wear the same stuff to the office every day. We've got our Trainer HQ kit. And I wake up, I don't have to think about what I'm going to wear. I got fucking 10 of the same shirt. Maybe
there was a study on that. High performers, like Steve Jobs, wear black and black. Yeah. Every day, black and black. Yeah. Because I don't want to be like wasting efficiency and brain power on going, what's I going to wear today and what I'm going to do and, what I'm going to eat. And, it's like, get that routine, get that shit down, Pat. So you've got more time, more energy, more focus on the stuff that's really important for you.
Yeah.
So, it's crazy.
Yeah, love it, bro. Love recapping all this. I'm sure we could keep talking for hours and days about all these different things we've done.
Well, one last thing, because we can chop this shit up anyway. we've covered that part, but mentally, what do you do in check? Like, so what's your, because, physically, there's physically, there's emotionally, but what do you do like to keep yourself in check mentally?
Yeah, my thing is our 30-day personal power journal. So my routine is, up early. It's either, 3, 3:15, 3:30, whatever that is. Whilst I'm having that coffee, it's that time to sit down and reflect, write down my personal power journal in terms of, all right, reflecting on what's going on in my mind, what things do I need to improve on, all the rest of it. What's my what am I grateful for, all that part. So for me, I find that as a time I really value. Like I think about
just stopping.
What is my fucking I've many great times through the day, but what's one of my most favorite times is sitting downstairs in my office at home, coffee there, doing my journal, like just taking that time out.
Being still, being present. Yeah, that's fucking cool. Yeah, that's so cool.
And you?
It's very similar. And again, the drive to Redcliffe, I've said this to you, it's not just about the drive. It's like I'll normally have the radio off or no sound on the way back from training because I'm enlivened. On the way there, I might listen to a podcast, information, or I'll get myself pumped up to walk into the lion's den. But on the way back, I'll have silence. I'll just have the radio off, and it's my time to reflect and allow stuff. Like I've said to you often, that's where I'll get ideas, inspirations for the business, for my life. Who do I need to call? Who do I need to touch base with? So no distractions.
Yeah.
But then other than that, my style, I'm big on the intuitive, like meditation or hypnosis or something on a daily but it's primarily just to stop and allow myself to be present and go, where am I at, what do I need to do, what's going on. Then I do the same thing as yourself with the journal. It's the stuff to center what am I grateful for, and it's that's just that daily ritual to keep myself on check. And I find if I don't do it again, like with training, and I talked about the massage, I've got probably a 2-week window, and I find that I start to drift. So I'm not as emotionally, adept where I could be more reactive if I'm not doing those things. So again, I've found what works for me training wise, nutrition wise, business wise, and then also mentally and emotionally. I know that works for me. You hear people talk about daily routines, morning routines. I don't subscribe to that, and but I found what works for me. I'm not going to say, hey, you got to go and do that, because for somebody else it might be going for a walk with their shoes off, saying affirmations as they're looking into the sun. You just got to find what works for you. But I've found what works for me over the years, and I just know that if I do that again automatically without thinking about it, making it a habit, and being disciplined with it, then I'm a better person. But when I stop doing those things, I also know that I get off track. And then I'm more reactive. I can be, I would say I get stressed, but I'd be more reactive to things. I don't take pressure and challenges as well. And my mind might be thinking differently. So it's like going to the gym. I need to keep training it anyway. Yeah. And that's what works for me. So
such a powerful thing to have that insight to look internally.
Yeah.
Because it's something for a lot of people that maybe they haven't tuned into it, or they may struggle with. And, one of the most challenging things to do is to look in on yourself and go, hey, man, you're slightly off course at the moment,
Yeah, being honest and taking responsibility and, what do I need to do and own and change. Yeah, but if you don't give yourself the space, because a lot of people don't want to look at it, right? Because then they might have to get off their ass and do something.
Yep.
And, it's easy to blame.
Yep.
But for us, I know, I'd rather just get it nipped in the bud.
Yeah.
Because I just know if I don't, it causes more drama, and more issues. So, we were down in Sydney doing the workshop with some of our clients, and someone asked us, do you guys still get stressed and all that? And we both looked at each other and kind of smirked, going, well, the version of us now, which have done a lot of work on ourselves and we doing the stuff we talked about, not really, right? We get challenges like everybody else in business, but the way we deal with it is in a calm and, a solution state of thinking, where other people may panic and be reactive and all the rest of it. So, I think we answered it saying, well, maybe if you're asking the 20-year-old Brad and Jason, the 30-year-old, but you got to look at, we've been in business for a long time. We've done a lot of work on ourselves. So it's not that we don't stress, but we just, the way we manage it and deal with it. is a reflective of all the work that you put in, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And then that all stems back to go and look at your daily routine and everything you do, because that all contributes to it. And it's, are you reactive to things, or do you just take it on board and go, okay, cool.
Yeah. If you're fucking getting up 5 minutes before you got to start work and you're rushing around and, you know, you're already in a state of distress, but, you know, again, I hope the things we've shared is like someone might just, they might go, I don't want to do that, but it's give me an insight to maybe where I need to focus on and how I can start improving some of these areas.
Yeah.
And I always say, look at people who are ahead of you and further on in life. You know, like you hear about the 6-year-old. Look at my grandmother and like at 90 odd, and what were they doing? What activities were they doing? Right. You know, did they have a religion? Did they have a faith? You know, like
success leaves clues. You
know, what were they actually doing that, you know, made them that way? You know. Successful in their life, or just, you know, at peace with themselves, whatever it may be. And rather than looking at, you know, maybe some 20-year-old who's jacked up on Instagram, you know. That's right. You know, like
or looking at what I don't have.
I don't have.
And I guess that's a trap for a lot of people to fall into. So
yeah.
Right. Sweet, man. Loved it. We could go on for days, couldn't we? But we did have to wrap this one up. But man, love it. Oh, well, you know, happy birthday to you for a couple of weeks' time, eh? Big 5-0, hey?
Hey, looking forward to it,
I get to say welcome to the club. Being a couple of days in, I'm sort of the elder statesman here, you know?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be good.
And pumped up for the next stage of our journey, hey, brother?
We'll do our 60th.
Fuck yeah.
Take 2.
Bring it on. All right. Awesome. That is Brad and Jace over and out on the Trainer HQ podcast. Yeah.